Once again, across the wasteland, the dead wander, zombies roam. Settlements are continuing to eke out a living, manage to make it for one more day. And to the south of the great wasteland of the country that was once known as the United States of America, um, there is a great inferno raging off the shores into the ocean. This strange collection of docks and sheds and floating boats. Should one see it from above, they would see bonfires billowing black smoke. There are the sounds of people shouting and gunfire and general chaos. And then the camera pans away from them, further across the ocean, back to the coast of an area once known as Louisiana, where a large farmstead sits. Rows and rows of crops, plantation style, are there. And there are a few dead bodies, and a large bonfire, this one set intentional, on the marshy ground, to where there is a collection of scattered about 500-ish people, most wearing rags and very obviously malnourished. Seated around at the logs a bit closer are some other individuals. There are people you've come to know. There is, for instance, Georgie, in his kind of blue collar shirt, frizzy hair, very tired eyes. There is Taylor in her punk aesthetic of shaved mohawk and leather jacket. A few other members of the resistance. And then there are you two, John and Richard. As this group of people you have, in the span of a few hours, believe they were being abducted by one of the most notorious men known in the wasteland, revealed they were actually being saved, revealed that you were actually zombies, and fought off more zombies, and have now gathered, slightly shell-shocked, but for the first time slightly hopeful, to hear this explanation you've promised them about what the hell is going on.
Where do we start, John?
You're asking me?
Mm,
As I imagine John pulls his hood back and just rubs his hand through his sort of medium-length dark brown hair. Just gives a almost boyish sideways smile. Well, how far back y'all want us to go?
let's start with how we met. You really got to catch him up.
All the way back. Damn.
Oh, it's only been about a month, maybe 2.
Yeah, it feels like. Hell. 3 years? 4?
I don't think we're gonna draw it out that long.
Fair enough. All right. Well, we told you a little bit about us, but we met around, say, was it Oklahoma? Sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
There was a third member of our little party here, a man by the name of Henry. He was most recent to die. He's an interesting fellow. You can maybe one day you'll meet him. He's a doctor too, actually. But at the time, he was a frantic, crazy man that busted into the house I was staying in. All I hear is the front door bust in, and man comes in and says he knows I'm there. I'm all defensive at first, but eventually I realize I have to tolerate this man because I don't know what he's about. And then I think he left for you, as he looks over to Richard.
Yeah, I remember you guys shared up for a shack, and then, I'm fucking minding my business, scavenging, and lunatic in a big puffy jacket and stupid looking green glasses comes rushing out saying that he was meant to meet me.
Yeah, some
Did he
real
give you
like
that spiel
prophecy.
too? I don't remember. Yeah. Talked about how someone told him that he was meant to meet the two of us. And mentioned a dream about being on a table and being worked on with colorful thread. And, well, unfortunately, that was a little familiar for us too.
John looks out to the crowd and is like, the faces you're making, the face I was making too, though. As he nods.
Yeah, I was honestly scared I met a meth head in the apocalypse. Didn't even realize they still existed. But, wound up having a real awkward dinner after that one. Or breakfast, I guess. It was technically start of the day.
Canned corn. As you might imagine, a couple of us might have made it a real point to show that we eat veggies.
Not just human food in general. Which we can do, by the way. I enjoy it.
Loves broccoli. He looks over to the little curl by Taylor and winks.
Yeah. After we had our little sit down, though, we had heard some screams outside. Sound of bandits seeming to corral some of their slaves. Not very well, though. Things went sideways and one of them got shot. We rushed out to see what was going on. I don't even know if it was meant to save them, but just for the sake of being nosy. Seeing someone innocent dead, though, we all leapt into action. And, oh, I mean, there's no nice way of putting it. We killed those bandits.
Real hard to hide who and what we were, too.
Yeah, that's when we found out what we were all together.
John nods and looks up to Richard. Yep. When I started climbing walls and shape-shifting in front of them, and this one here grew spines, and, well, Henry turned into a tank. A tank that could think. Scary, right?
It turns out the guy I thought was a meth head is actually the Hulk, and not even, like, by just power alone. He's a doctor, so quite a few equivalents on that one.
We realized that we all acted in, in vengeance, I suppose it was, for an innocent life lost. And, another real tense standoff as we started to realize that each other was, well, one of the Walking Dead. Oh, hell, I can say the word zombies.
I don't know. We still haven't settled on if we technically count as zombies.
As he wavers a hand. Close enough.
Whatever.
Still, at that time, I wasn't entirely certain that one of y'all wasn't some sort of revenant come to finally collect me. I mean,
I look close
I died,
enough.
and I ain't felt no call to infect nobody. So, he shrugs.
When we were checking over to see if the lady was all right, turned out she pretty much died there and then. But we had found a note on them apologizing to Wachowski about, if I remember correctly, a relationship that never panned out.
He nods. So we decided we'd return the ring and the message to Wachowski. So we went looking. I believe after
I started heading west.
Yeah, on the way to the caravan, we ended up coming across a little town called Mudtown.
We like to call it home now, but at the time, yes, just Mudtown. Oh, man. Mudtown. Cannot wait to go back there.
Y'all should visit sometime when you can.
But, we know some people there that are good friends with us and know what we are, which is nice.
Anyway, Mudtown had a bit of a bandit boat problem, and we ended up taking care of that too. Sometime along the way, Henry got kidnapped by somebody. Not entirely sure I remember who, but at the time we just thought,
It was some
poor
revenants,
bastard.
remember?
Oh, yeah, sure was. At the time I was just thinking, poor bastard doesn't know what he got.
But, yeah, there was a river going up through Mudtown where bandits were coming in, and, oh, I guess to say Margaritaville isn't the first time we sunk some ships.
No, I say not. But we ended up staying a little while in Mudtown and ended up getting a liking for people. They were very friendly, very welcoming. Not something you see a whole lot of, which is real nice.
Turns out Henry wasn't the only one getting harassed with revenants, though. There was one that had been lurking around the town a fair bit. Father of one of them kept trying to lure his family out to join them, and, well,
some of y'all might know.
Real tense situation, too, because, honestly, the daughter didn't want to let her father go. I mean, who would? I can certainly sympathize. But, no, we dealt with the problem. Unfortunately, though, we were kind of caught. Not by what we were at the time, thankfully, but having killed him. Girls whose father we dealt with wound up running away. We did manage to catch her, though. Turns out she was heading over to a place called the Church of Wonders. You steer clear of that place, by the way.
Some of y'all may know, but if you don't, basically a church dedicated to the worship of zombies. And no, I ain't kidding.
Yeah, and I believe it's the, what was it, next step of human evolution?
Yeah, some bullshit like that.
Can confirm it was not. We, agreed to help the girl, Marie, by the way, just so I don't have to keep saying the girl. We agreed to escort her there to check it out specifically. And when we proven that this thing was sour, we'd take her back home. It
Like
went
that,
sour.
You ain't gonna change your mind. She was gonna go one way or another. Figured it'd be best if we chaperoned, and yeah, like Richard said, it went sour. I don't know what you did, but there was a chorus of shouts from the zombies. Yeah, and I'm talking walkers, not like revenants and nothing. I mean, this John shudders a little bit.
I mean, before we get to the zombie shouting part, when we did get there, it was pretty much bad vibes right away. Had whole fenced-in areas just full of zombies that they were, well, I'm honestly not sure how, but they were feeding them. Honestly, kind of glad we didn't stick around long enough to find out what.
Cult vibes, lots of people dressed in white. You get it.
When we got there, though, we were invited in. Apparently, we had been expected to some degree. And that's where we met Tulsa. During a sermon, we had a man in a gas mask and black burlap robes step out on stage. I was pretty certain we were going to die there and then. But, turns out that he'd been looking for us. Called us chosen. As self-important as that sounds.
John nods.
He claimed that we were here to do greater things, and I mean, we told him that was bullshit, but I guess he's not fully wrong, all things considered. As we got to know him, we made it very clear that he was strictly in our service, which was honestly just kind of uncomfortable. I don't want a servant, and I never will. But he was pretty adamant. But once again, this place didn't feel right. We decided to split up a little bit. John staying behind to meet with the father of the church and get to know Tulsa a bit more, and I went to go see if there was anything about in those fenced areas. Started trying to call them out. I thought there was maybe a revenant out and about in the crowd. Didn't quite get talked to by a revenant. As John said, suddenly those zombies started chanting. Someone spoke through them, made a real big fuss of things, and started, I guess, essentially a riot. As I was running back, they were starting to break through those fences right away. When I got back, the church that Marie was staying in also was starting to get attacked by zombies. Some ghouls got out. And, well, that's where she found out that we were zombies. We scooped her up right quick and started running. Pretty much the entire place fell apart behind us. We, managed to get away. Tulsa staying true to being our ally, but honestly being real weird about it. He wasn't a fan of people. Well, humans, specifically. But, on the way back, we definitely made sure Marie understood what had happened. And also asked her not to tell her mom, who was not in any way happy that we essentially kidnapped her daughter.
We didn't kidnap, we chaperoned. He points a finger, he lifts a finger up and points at certain people.
She wasn't happy. Oh, man. Mudtown. I got back to Mudtown after dealing with the church.
I still remember your face when, when you knocked on her door and you got to face her alone.
Were you watching me when you walked away?
He doesn't say anything. He just puts his hands up and grins.
Reaches over and gives your shoulder a light shove.
Ow.
What happened after Mudtown?
I think it was the Death Mall. We were still trying to go to the caravan, but...
Oh, fuck the Death Mall. Yeah, we decided after helping out with Mudtown and, well, my mom aside, making pretty good friends with everyone, we decided to set off back for the caravan. Still wanted to deliver that letter and, I don't know, maybe pick up some supplies. We were kind of scarce at the time.
I think Vidnod won, point us toward it, because there was some scrap, I think, there that he was thinking we might be able to find for him.
Right. Vidnod was the person who kind of ran the electronics around Mudtown. Real whiz with lighting and, well, honestly, just getting a settlement running properly.
Generators, heat, electricity. Not.
Said there was some supplies there, but made a note that it was kind of dangerous.
Kind of a bit of an understatement. When we got there, some of you
call it a death mall.
Some of you might remember the entertainment tapes at Margaritaville. Turns out there's a pair of guys there who would lure people in and subject them to all sorts of traps and nasty puzzles and captivated zombies.
Weirdly enough, puzzles didn't do anything. Zombies, on the other hand, kind of beat our ass.
Runners. He shudders a little bit.
But, anyway. Yeah. Went to the mall to try and supply up. And, well, there we were hosted by an egghead who knew his way around electronics as well. And some shithead who thought shutter shades were cool.
And we made sure that was their last and unreleased episode.
Although, they did give us a run for our lack of money.
Did find someone else in the basement.
Yeah,
the reason they were able to lure in all the zombies. An actual revenue. Oh, a little different. Not like us, but not quite. As he kind of grimaces and looks to Richard.
She wasn't plugged in like the other zombies were, insistent of spreading things.
not as deeply anyway. Name's Susanna. It's over down by the Dakota Free Zone now. Goes by the name of Baba Yaga. Like I said, she ain't quite us, but she ain't quite them either. Something.
Honestly, she just wants to be left alone.
He nods. She views it as a blessing, but as he shakes his head, doesn't feel as strongly to spread it. Or at the very least, if she does, she's far more sensual.
After we picked up Susanna, we decided to make a quick return back to Mudtown. Lick our wounds a little bit. We got, honestly, decently roughed up in there. And, well, that's where we met one of our first ongoing pains in the ass.
Another revenant named Dog. Something of a... As he pauses, smirks, and then looks to the crowd. Bounty hunter, as stupid as that sounds. But, don't let it fool you. Dog is dangerous.
I was an asshole.
He, cornered us. We'd noticed a lot of hellhound tracks around town. He cornered me particularly, put a gun to my head, and when I finally turned around, I saw his face, and it was, almost like looking at a werewolf, to the truth be told. He told us to meet him at Sulphur Springs. We were going to meet with the other, called them Alpha Strains. And, then he left.
Of course, we immediately ignored his advice to go to Sulphur Springs and decided to keep pursuing the caravan, as we're really bad at setting tasks, but try to complete them in order. Try to.
We ended up coming across a town in Kentucky called Concord. We're on our way to the caravan and wanted to pick up some supplies and just kind of stop in and check out another town. We found a town. We came to a town meeting. There's a man there whose wife and daughter had been bitten and infected, but they were looking for food supplies and medicine. The town wasn't really willing to donate everything. Kind of wanted to put them out of their misery. Which, well, I don't think there's many among us who didn't have to make that decision. But as he nods, yeah, we didn't want to see that happen. So we convinced them that maybe if they were willing to, maybe help one of their neighbors out, we were headed to the caravan, and maybe the caravan might be able to help. Eventually, the town did pitch in and figured they could trade some food for some medicine. Not very many were willing to donate, but some were. At least we did.
We're not proud of it, but we definitely did a what would Jesus do moment.
Yeah.
And that seemed to have got them shuffling their feet a bit.
Yeah. As he pauses for a moment, looks to Richard, and should we tell him about As he pauses for a moment, then taps his head, just kind of very subtly, so only he could see.
I'll leave it up to you.
Anyway. Kept going. And eventually we did find the caravan. Only we found the scouts fighting some raiders. The fight was noisy enough, it was also attracting a horde. We, of course, couldn't let this happen. We were here to save a few lives after all, and, well, like I said, this is kind of my second chance. Pauses for a moment, kind of chews on that before continuing. We fought, and I ain't exactly scrappy, but believe.
He got punched in the head by a runner and fell unconscious.
All right, when you put it like that, asshole.
Look, you're not good at fighting. We're not gonna lie about it.
When we get to Margaritaville, then the tide's gonna turn on you.
Yeah.
But they all know that. Anyway, he gives him the side eye but smirks. I fell unconscious and as he pauses for a moment and there is a real visceral hesitation as he looks to the crowd. When I'm not conscious, I look a little different. See, again, seems to... There is a almost look of pain on his face when he says it.
We don't have to show him. Long and short is John. It's a little bit harder for him to hide what he is when he's out. You've seen that he can shapeshift around, and... Well, we're just gonna leave it at that. When John was knocked out, I wound up, well, I'm not proud of it, but I tried to eat one of the bandits. I got pretty messed up, and that kind of snapped a little. As the fight was wrapping up, we wound up surrendering and being taken in. We didn't want Joseph to lose out on his chance for help at our expense. Although Susanna wasn't happy with that part.
Not quite.
But, we got taken to the caravan by, the two very ungrateful people we rescued. Rohan and Nafisha. Nafisha's gonna be important later. But they took us to the caravan and threw us in boxes. John specifically thrown in a box. But I got the nice jail cell treatment. They asked us some questions. Dr. Carolyn there did some poking and prodding, trying to figure out what the hell's up with us. Became clear that we're infected, but we're not infected. I'm trying to think how to... We're not zombies.
We're
but
not fully infected. They ain't reached our brain yet. We have bodies.
Yeah.
Also, should point out, we found Henry again. He was hooked up with the caravan.
Yeah, he had wandered in on his own business because he'd managed to... Well, he tore the revenant that kidnapped him in half. We actually found him on the road at one point. Laughed at him, and then... I think we just left him behind. I don't remember.
Been a while. Been a long month, tell you that. Yeah, well, we got there, and Carolyn wanted to experiment on us, and we did, and we agreed, Susanna less so, but found some interesting things, which some of y'all might have heard on the Dakota Free Radio, as he grins for a second.
Yeah, we heard that broadcast. Those two that were found was us.
Yeah. But
they wound up...
led to some good things.
They wound up basically putting us on trial. Henry, still acting as a human, vouched for us, having said he had met us before, but not realized we were zombies. Very tentatively, we were let go.
That's a bit of a deception, but, well, I mean, I'd like to believe that maybe the ends justify the means here. There's a cure being worked on. But I'm skipping ahead. Anyway.
They had us on trial. We managed to, surprisingly, talk our way into having them trust us. And they very reluctantly let us go.
Kind of found out a little bit more about our abilities from them, because we were very interested in finding out more. Some interesting notes, but, not much more to it than, well, unless you're a biologist, pathologist, whatever, like they are, you might not find it as interesting. as they did. But Carolyn found Susanna's blood had real interesting properties. Kind of
Yeah,
mutated things.
yeah, made whatever infection it touched kind of, I guess,
Bigger and
explode.
better.
Yeah,
It was dangerous. Like I said, she's something. As he shakes his head again, she's something else.
different.
Different. Scary different in a lot of ways. Tragic different in a lot of others.
We managed to drop off the ring and note, though, with Wachowski, who was currently at the time leader of the caravan. And, well, that seemed to put him a little bit further at ease that we'd come out of our way and risk our secret to drop off something so mundane.
The Fisha didn't agree.
Oh, God, she was pissed.
Rightfully
She
so.
had some pretty bad run-ins with zombies in the past that left her understandably pretty set in her ways, but
Most of us have, but her, as he shakes
hers
his
was
head,
special.
grimace.
I'm honestly not comfortable talking about it too much. But long story short, she had a reason not to trust us. Unfortunately, though, that meant she kept trying to sabotage us. When we were in those cages, she actually threw meat at me and tried to rile me up. But we managed to make it out unscathed, and, well, we weren't quite sure what to do. We considered heading back to Sulphur Springs like Dog had invited us. At the very least, we were curious on what he had to say. On the way back, we decided to do a pit stop through Ghost City. That's a good old return to home for you, huh, John?
Yeah. As he scowls. I think we were making our way towards Sulphur Springs, actually, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
We were going
like
to
I
meet
said,
him at least hear him out.
Yeah. Figured we'd
Yes.
stop by Ghost City to check out supplies, though. Or
We got
rumored
some
supplies.
And if any of you have had a run in with a ghost, well, all I can say is play along, pretend everything's normal.
I got pulled over.
As he
The zombie
leans
pulled
over,
me over in the apocalypse.
as he slaps Richard's shoulder. You sure did. Got the Burger King receipt to prove it.
Actually, I think I honestly still have it in my wallet as he does fish through his jeans for a moment.
Oh, you got to pay that. They're gonna fine you.
Yeah. Oh god, imagine if the illusion does held up that long and I get served papers next time we pass there.
Well, anyway, we traveled a little deeper inside and found something. We saw a dog again, and some kid, a zombie kid. Well, they were collecting ghosts. And was that a later?
Construction workers specifically.
Was that later? I can't remember.
No,
Anyway.
we did some digging around but didn't find much.
We
Found a cat.
talked to. There was a few of them. Other alpha strains, they called them. Special, like us, but only fully infected. Pierre, Jamal, the kid we only knew as the conduit. Later learned his name was Alex.
Richard turns and spits into the dirt at the mention of Pierre.
They tried to convince us, and they were very confused as to why we weren't on board. But
Kept talking about a grand plan about exterminating humanity, but when we tried to ask them about it, they honestly didn't seem to know a whole lot compared to us either. Just kept saying it needed to happen, but didn't really know why.
well, we said no, but Susanna said yes. And we're not one to drag someone along who ain't willing. So that's
Especially
why
since,
Susanna
you know,
left us.
almost died with us at the caravan.
Nods. She didn't want to die in a cage. She shrugs. So she left with them, and we left, headed back to Mudtown. Met with the man from Concord again. Well, he'd been all right. We learned his wife had recovered, but he was also trying to, well, tell
Warn
Mudtown
Mudtown.
about us. Which, I mean, fair. Like, I would in his position. I mean, granted, I'd probably try to sell the information, at the time, but he shrugs.
Managed to catch him on the general radio frequency, and honestly, I'm surprised it worked, but we asked him to meet us nearby at a gas station. Finally had a chance to, I guess, explain ourselves, and essentially gave him the same spiel we gave the caravan, that we're dead, but we're not with the zombies, and we're honestly just trying to make the most of what we have now, and trying to make the world a bit better.
Eventually, he decided to, well, let us tell Mudtown in our own time.
Which we did pretty soon after.
Well,
But,
we kind of got caught up in things before we could. We went back to Mudtown and found
ran into a maze on the way home. Big
yeah,
old hedge maze. Heard gunshots in it. Decided to pull over and be nosy like we usually do.
found a man by the name of Charlie.
Oh,
From
man.
actually from Quebec.
Barely old enough to be considered a man.
As he wavers a hand. Well, we picked him up along the way. Not really knowing who we'd picked up, but we'd learn later. But unfortunately, we learned that our friend Vidnot he'd been bit. And instead of wasting medical supplies and food and possibly still turning, he decided to go out on his own terms.
Hell of a way to come back to Mudtown and get that kind of news.
Yeah. Damn. He's a good man.
Marie took over his shop, though, and she's managing okay at this point, but it took a while.
And
right now, we're trying to translate his notes, actually. He left them in Hindi.
Nobody
how
knows
to maintain
how to fix the generators. He was the only one, and well, somehow, some why, he left his instructions in Hindi. Nobody speaks it.
Actually, speaking of, maybe we can ask someone around here to see if they know.
If anybody knows Hindi, by any long stretch of the imagination, maybe you could talk with us
Talk to
after.
us after.
Or Mudtown. Anyway, we also learned something about our companion acolyte, Tulsa.
Speaking of, that's what we started calling them, acolytes.
That's what they called themselves, if I remember correctly.
I guess screamers might be another thing you've heard on the radio.
Not to that.
Yeah, we bumped into another acolyte out in the woods by Mudtown, though, while we were out trying to, I guess, hunt.
They are not friendly to humans. Just throwing that out there.
They're currently now extra not friendly to humans. But, approached us calling himself John or Richard, which really took us for a loop. Apparently, while we were at the mall, Tulsa, wound up messing with some of the bodies that were there, and well, we don't really know the specifics. Well, we do to some degree, but he made another acolyte. And,
had the technical expertise of the people we'd, ended at the death mall. So he was able to fix up the generators, and he was willing to obey us.
Yeah, had the same spiel about how we're the chosen and how he's made to serve us, so that's when we realized it wasn't just Tulsa being weird, that was something that was programmed into them. But, we made sure he was safe, gave him a pretty thorough run through, made it very clear he's not to eat her, as he referred to them, cattle, much to our dismay. but I mean, we could take the help we could get. We needed the generators running. We asked them to stay behind and make sure people stayed safe and made sure things were running, and we'd come back for them when we had the chance. At that point, we decided to actually detour. We had been hearing just a little bit of rumors down to the east, and we wound up starting to head our way down to Margaritaville.
Yeah, we were following up on a rumor that there might have been another. Well,
Us?
one of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we decided to go figure out that, and well, as he looks out to the crowd, as you'll find out, caused some ruckus.
On the way there, though, we came across a shack where something went real bad, real fast. Dead bodies everywhere. Wooden shack that was pretty messed up. Found a ghoul trapped underneath a forklift with a messenger bag of all things. We killed the ghoul and decided to see what he was pulling about. Commit some felonies and read other people's mail. What we found, though, left us a little shocked. We had found this part wasn't as shocking, wanted poster for John and I, Tulsa, Henry, from the zombies of all things. Early on, we had pulled a little stunt pretending to be higher up revenants in their ranks to milk some information out of them, and well, they wanted to make sure that wouldn't fly again, unfortunately. Also, had some weird medical details on us that I'm honestly still not sure about. Other thing we found was a letter from the 4 big bads. It was Kate, Caesar. I always remember the other. I always forget the other 2.
Baba Yaga and Russo, if I remember correctly.
I think it was just Russo.
Well, it was a letter
way.
specifically to Caesar, talking about the rest of the others, Alpha strains. So, Baba Yaga from Kate Schiller.
Yep.
Big
talking
3,
about-
Kate Schiller, Russo, and Caesar.
That's the 3 of them. They had notes, though, about plans going on all over. Had something going on in Oregon with the U.S. Army, apparently. Something called the Tyrant Project in Chicago.
Oh, you remember Project Tyrant?
Oh, fuck, I do. Yeah, I do. Then Baba Yaga out in the free zone, which we, once again, later found out was Susanna. And then
Operation
something
Shepherd
in California?
And the one I think we're most worried about currently, plans to mustard gas the free zone.
Yep. We decided with this information, though, we were going to head back to the caravan and see if they could make more of this and possibly put out warnings. When we were there, we found out that Nefisha had outed us to Concord. Real pain in the ass. We're not allowed to go back there anymore. And furthermore, the wanted posters had something called a Reese status, which is related to that little bit of membrane in your nose between the sinuses and the brain. Apparently that's what keeps the infection out.
And with that information, Carolyn said that she could develop a vaccine. It's also somewhat explains us. For some reason, the virus ain't reached into our brains yet. And I say
is
yet.
too strong.
Monkey brain. Anyway, as we learned, that's why we're not infected. We can still be infected. That's why we got to be extra careful. Well, if we went as crazy as the rest of them, we could do some damage.
Yeah.
Kind of looks over to Georgie for a moment before continuing. And as we decided we were going to do something about all this information, Wachowski wasn't exactly sure what we could do. we decided to start looking for allies. Maybe the Skyways, the Free Zone.
We wanted to warn people before things happened because they were worried about using the radio for it.
So we headed to the Chicago Skyways first. We were going to warn Samantha Blackhawk about Project Tyrant. And, well, that meeting didn't go as smoothly as the caravan.
Oh, you're forgetting about the second time we got pulled over as well.
Oh yeah.
Turns
Right.
out the boy we helped out and is now living in Mudtown, Charlie. Well, dumbass swiped the crown jewels from the Kingdom of Quebec, and now there were knights, quote unquote, out and about after him. Pulled us over asking if we had seen him. Told him nope, but we'd keep an ear out for it.
Honest to God, knights on motorcycles. As he shakes his head.
Didn't even have any armor. I was honestly kind of disappointed. But, decided we'd confront him on that next time we were at Mudtown. Continued on our way to the Skyway. And, yeah, as John said, didn't exactly go the nicest. But I will say, all things considered, it did still go pretty smoothly.
It turned out well, but, you know. Well,
We, didn't do a very good job at hiding ourselves this time because we knew that Caravan had phoned ahead to warn them that we were on the way there. And, well, we got thrown in a room and shaken down for information at gunpoint. We wound up showing them a copy of the letter that we had picked up from the zombies. And, well, told them that we were there to help. Somewhere along the way, though, we had lost track of Tulsa. And, well, thankfully he wasn't there to give them some unpleasant looks while we were being interrogated. The agreement was, though, that they'd strap us with explosives, and if we did anything not up to code, we'd be a fine mist. We weren't super excited about this, but we understood. From there, we wound up heading towards the museum where it was rumored that Project Tyrant was being set up. And on the way there, we
Wonder why.
bumped into Tulsa on the way there, who was super not happy about the fact that we could explode.
Allowed ourselves to be shackled, I believe, was the way he called it.
Yeah, I'd like to think about it. I just got a nice new ankle bracelet.
I got a sweet backpack. Anyway, that's where we found out what the hell Project Tyrant was.
Yeah, it turns out one of the zombies we met before, Pierre, one of the quote-unquote alpha strains, had been, well, it was a bit of an artsy folk. Yeah.
What's the name, Sue? I think it was. Natural History Museum.
I never went to museums as a kid. Either way, yeah, it turns out he was able to rip apart zombies and resculpt that muscle and was using it to, well, build an honest-to-God zombie T-Rex.
Affectionately known as the Z-Rex.
I don't think I'd call it affectionately. That thing literally kicked me at the beginning and it hurt real bad. But
I want to take a break for a moment to tell you, well, I guess he's going to get to it. Never mind. Please continue.
We wound up managing to make our way through the town to the museum, where we'd confront Pierre. The zombies, for some reason, not following us into the museum. Apparently Pierre didn't want them to enter his place of work. He gave us the monologue grand design spiel again, and talked about his lovely creations to, which we realized we had to stall a little bit, because we had Samantha listening in, and we weren't quite sure what to do about this situation. We, managed to work out a plan that we'd use the C4 strapped to me in particular to, try and deal with the T-Rex there and then. And, in our biding time as we waited for permission, we said some pretty unpleasant things to Pierre's form of art, mostly stating that it was unoriginal if he was being led by the grand design, and well, that got him pretty steamed. Upon getting agreement that we were allowed to use the C4 and not on us, we had thrown it forward. Something, I'm not entirely certain what, appeared and tried to intercept it. Only for it itself to be intercepted by another something. It was a bit of a blur, and we're not quite sure. But the C4 sounded its mark, and we took down the museum around Pierre and his new creation. As we decided to run, we unfortunately found out the C4 wasn't as effective as we had hoped. As a very, very mad French man came out riding atop a T-Rex. We ran. Oh, what were you going to say, John?
Oh, nothing. I'm just remembering that damn bridge.
Yeah, we ran, managing to lure the Z-Rex and, well, unfortunately, a gathering horde as well, towards a bridge that Samantha was setting up with explosives while we were heading there. On the way, John managed to actually use his own backpack rigged with C4 to blow off one of the buildings on the way, managing to drop it on the Z-Rex, and, well, unfortunately that didn't stop it either.
Damn thing survived a damn skyscraper falling on it. Well,
And museum. Honestly, I'm still not entirely certain that it's dead. But we made it to the bridge where we decided to make a stand against the horde that did manage to make it through, though. We beat it back pretty effectively. And, well, that's when we found out the Z-Rex wasn't killed by a skyscraper either. That thing was, well, honestly terrifying.
I mean, it's a zombie T-Rex. It's a shrug.
I don't think I'll ever want to see something like that again, but at the same time, I am kind of okay that I witnessed it.
Now, here's the part where I gotta, interject. We fought the damn thing because we couldn't run any further. The thing was faster than us, bigger than us, more powerful than us.
And we didn't want to abandon the soldiers helping us.
At that point, we did have a little backup in the form of the soldiers of Chicago Skyways. So, this man, as he lays his hand on the back of Richard's shoulder, climbed on top of a damn zombie T-Rex and started punching out the guy riding it. It sounds like I'm making this shit up, but I shit you not, as he's looking around to the group. Man hops on the back of a zombie T-Rex and Will starts going mano a mano with the rider.
Turns out the rider wasn't really good at fighting. He, if anything, asked me to stop attacking him and to see reason.
I put in a few distracting words here or there, but meanwhile, Tulsa's on the ground hooking into the damn thing with his fire axe, meat hook. And eventually, through gunfire, meat hook, fire axe, and Richard here, they all put it down. Hopefully for good. Hoping the soldiers burn the thing afterward.
I mean, it fell off the bridge, so I don't know. Pierre's dead, though, so at the very least, he's not the one bringing that back. But, yeah, managed to beat back Project Tyrant. Honestly, I was kind of worried it was a Resident Evil reference, but,
what now?
Honestly, I think that would have been preferable to his T-Rex. That said, after we had proven that we were going to fight to the death to help protect the soldiers against a fucking T-Rex of all things, Black Hawk was a little bit more amicable to us. She was no longer threatening us with explosives, and Well, honestly, she offered us a home there if we wanted to stay, which we reluctantly uh, declined.
But did ask maybe get a little help in transportation because we were headed to the free zone to warn them about the mustard gas.
Yeah, got to, in the span of a few days, kill a T-Rex and ride in a helicopter. I think I was living the embodiment of the American dream.
John pauses, considers, and then nods.
But yeah, we decided after wrapping up Project Tyrant, we were going to head off to the free zone.
Which we did.
Um,
Couldn't meet the Governor Nash quite yet, but we
yeah,
did meet somebody by the name of Twice Bit who, well, asked us to hunt down one of Baba Yaga's minions. That's when we found out who Baba Yaga was. Turns out it was Susanna, but not only that, Dog had given her a ranch, and there she'd been creating new zombie mutations for the other side. We also met
ghoul
the
with
convict.
antlers and wings and armored up tank.
Although, honestly, as he pauses for a second and chuckles, that tank was, I'm not gonna lie, kind of adorable. It was out there in the field picking flowers.
Yeah, whatever
Like-
Susanna did to these things left them a little different in their own way.
Yeah. But we met with them and caught up. Met the conduit named Alex, who Susanna had adopted.
Yeah, the little boy we met in Ghost City. Turned out he was one who was able to puppet zombies in huge masses.
Talk to him in ways nobody else could. We talked a little bit about the possibility because, well, Susanna is not quite up and up on this grand design. Maybe she could live in peace with people. Well, I say with humans. And, well, we didn't quite come to a consensus, but Susanna was at least entertaining the notion. Alex, well,
Go ahead.
as John gets sober-faced, Alex, he listened maybe a little bit too closely, and he liked the idea a little too much. He pauses again, considers. He took his friend, the winged ghoul, and wanted to go say hi to the humans who we were trying to convince Susanna wouldn't just kill her outright. Unfortunately, Alex was riding a winged ghoul to the free zone. It went about as well as you might expect.
Poor kid came back full of holes. And, well, unfortunately, despite our best efforts to keep him alive, he didn't make it. We did try phoning to the free zone, see if any of them had a medic that could maybe, I don't know, stitch him up. We're not entirely sure what would have happened for him. But despite Alex passing, Susanna, even through all her rage and grief, did agree to possibly have a meeting with the free zone to still discuss peace. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure how you convinced her to do that.
Neither. I wouldn't. Well,
When we'd head back, we had managed to finally have a meeting with Nash, where we had filled him in on what was happening, and that currently there is zombies on the way to mustard gas the free zone. However, he was insistent that while they had this Baba Yaga problem, he wasn't able to act on it.
and did manage to convince him to meet with Susanna. or as he knew her, the Baba Yaga. Man, again, miraculously, he agreed to this meeting. I suppose everybody was just taken aback that, a zombie was willing to talk.
And that two guys walked away from zombies without being bitten.
Yeah. I think that was actually around, it felt like Thanksgiving. I don't know if it was. What month is it?
I don't know. I stopped counting. I think it's... Counts his fingers for a moment. I think we're in September. I don't know.
He shrugs again.
I'll steal
Anyway,
a calendar at some point.
it felt like the most awkward family Thanksgiving you have ever attended. And things were going well, all things considered. Eventually,
Yep.
everybody took a recess. And why don't you tell them what happened there, Richard?
Well, after some strong negotiations where we hashed out an agreement between Susanna and Nash, we decided to take a break to eat food and sustain ourselves. And, Twicebit decided to pull me aside to help pick up a grill and, held me at gunpoint and called me out on the fact that there's no way I would have walked away from zombies unscathed, and how it was weird that we requested for a medic only to cancel it at the last minute before we came back. Accused me of being a zombie, and, unfortunately he was right, but for the wrong reasons. Led me out into the clearing with my bandana down, and we thought we were dead at that point. And by the grace of whatever is looking down over us,
And May and Nash, as he holds up a finger.
Nash agreed to keep the treaty going, saying that while we did lie to him, the points we had made weren't unreasonable.
Eventually, we all agreed, after a very tense dinner, to hammer out what is officially known as the Alex Accords, in honor of Alex. Signed by both Susanna and Nash.
Susanna agreed that she was going to help the Free Zone with their farming problem, where they weren't able to sort out their crops, but she was able to keep a ranch going pretty nicely. And in return, the townsfolk would be willing to build her some additional home extremities. There was also a tentative agreement that people could volunteer their corpse to feed Susanna and her zombies. That way she would be able to eat, wouldn't have to prey on the people, and they wouldn't have to risk the bodies drawing anyone in. Questbit wasn't happy with that one, but it's there as an option and not a demand. Yeah, world's most uncomfortable Thanksgiving dinner with, food, politics, gun being waved around. The
I don't know
usual.
what sort of Thanksgiving you've been to, but yeah, that's about right. Got to ride in a helicopter again after we found an honest-to-goodness cow and chicken. Now, I told you about the Z-Rex, but a pristine, healthy cow and chicken feels like the most unbelievable part of this story.
Yeah, we decided to go do some gathering of supplies before we headed back to Mudtown, and came across I wouldn't even say it's a farm anymore. It was honestly pieces of wood standing up from the dirt. Found a chicken and a cow, which is hilarious because we joked about bringing one home to Mudtown, and we were initially a little sad we weren't able to do that, and then we realized we have a helicopter escorting us about.
And a pilot that, maybe owes us a favor.
Yeah.
We also figured it might soften the blow for what was about to come.
We had decided it was finally time to come out to Mudtown, and we had asked our pilot to drop us back off there alongside the cow. Yeah, I think that's probably the weirdest part when you say it out loud. Cow in a helicopter.
Is he nuts?
We made it back to Mudtown with our gift in saddle as I rode that thing in dramatically. I was one with the cow.
He shakes his head. Well, we confronted Charlie about his little jewel theft. Well, he, was still jury's still out on the kid, but he seems all right.
Basically told him if he got Mudtown in trouble, we'd break his legs.
Yes, he looks to Georgie, shakes his head subtly, pauses, and then wavers his hand. Well, that's when we decided to not only gift the cow and chicken to Mudtown, but to, finally let him know. That was
Next
hard.
morning,
We've come to grow real fond of that place.
Next morning, we called the town meeting with the help of the mayor, and we gave them our story, like we're giving you ours now. We told them what we were and what we're doing, and that we're trying to make the world a little bit better. And we were ready to be thrown out of what we'd grown to call home, full of people that we loved. It took a while, but after some debating amongst the group, they accepted us. And some were hesitant to approach us, understandably. A lot of them, nothing changed. Marie already knew. And, we had done so much for the town already. We'd been bringing back supplies whenever we visited. Brought them a cow to help their stuff like dairy be formed, and saved them from bandits and zombies alike. Our home still got to be home.
Yeah.
I won't lie, I almost cried right there on stage. It probably wouldn't have helped our point if I just kind of broke down sobbing in the middle of it.
I mean, it might have. I don't think
It
zombies
might have.
cry. But... Anyway, that said, Trouble in Paradise, JR and Marie had a little bit of friction. The acolyte we'd left in town to take care of the generators decided to leave.
Yeah, he thought Marie was annoying, which, once again, these acolytes don't really like people, so can't say we're too surprised.
We decided to head north for one reason or another. I think we were looking for weapons to help fortify Mudtown.
Yeah.
On the way, met somebody by the name of Holly.
Yeah, we had taken the helicopter back to the Skyway. A different helicopter. When we revealed we're zombies, our initial pilot decided to fuck off, and Blackhawk gave him an earful and sent out a replacement pilot. Apparently, people at the Skyway didn't actually know about what we were, despite us being offered a home there. She planned on keeping it hush-hush for a while if she could. But, as we were heading out, we wound up setting off a trap by accident. We were checking out a nearby military base for supplies, and a bunch of girders got dropped around us and trapped us in on the road. And, met a girl named Holly. She immediately shook us down to see if we were bandits, asking us to turn out our boots. Apparently bandits keep coins in them as an emergency ride to get back to Margaritaville. And, she told us that some bandits had, robbed her. Took a bunch of supplies she was taking home to... honestly, I don't even remember where she was from.
Don't quite remember, but, all I happen to know was it was something like Christmas in July. I'm not kidding, she was dressed like an elf.
Yeah, apparently she has a thing where she'll, make believe on Christmas to keep the kids' spirits up, and she wanted to do it before things got cold, understandably. Otherwise, it's real hell to scavenge and travel in the winter out here.
But a bunch of bandits have stolen Christmas. So, well, I mean, who wouldn't jump at the chance to say that they went and saved Christmas? He opens his arms to the crowd. So we did. We hopped to it, and we tracked those bandits to a settlement that they'd invaded.
More little group of lodgings out in the woods, honestly. I wouldn't even call it a settlement, just...
Community.
I don't know, I guess glorified campground, yeah.
They've been rather brutal there, and, well, they also
Killed all the
had...
men, or taking the women and children for slaves.
And they'd also stolen a tank, like the metal kind.
Nabbed it from the military base we were checking out, actually. We had picked up their radio frequency, and that's why we're there in the first place.
Nuts.
There we met our fucking arch rival.
Ugh, tuck 'em.
Yeah.
Anyway.
There was a bandit by the name of Gramps, with his second in command, a man named Duck Tuckum, and yes, it's what it sounds like. Yeah. Sounds exactly what it's like, though. He was, in fact, using a knockoff name of Duke Nukem as his, I guess essentially his wrestling name in Margaritaville. We managed to pull one up on them, though. When one of them had stepped out into the woods, we killed him, and John took his role. And, well, decided to make a scene that was something out in the woods. Tulsa making a fair bit of noise and bringing that screamer cheer that was rumored on the radio. Managed to lure a group of them into the tank with him, and caused enough panic that the people in the tank drove off without the rest of the bandits. John opened that lid, and I popped in. And it went from the insides of a tank to the insides of a tomato soup can real fast.
You're being a little graphic here, but yes, he did, in fact, hear the bandits in there.
I'm proud of what I did to those bandits for stealing Christmas, John.
More than stealing Christmas. Murder, pillage, slavery. Yeah.
They sucked.
You ain't wrong.
Meanwhile, Tulsa went toe-to-toe with Gramps and Duck Tuckum. Well, mostly Duck Tuckum. Gramps died pretty much instantly.
Turns out, some bandits in Margaritaville had made a deal with Dog.
Yep. They were allowed to pass through his territory uninvaded, and they'd bring him slaves, which is why they were collecting their travel fee here.
By the way, I should point out, we told you about Krampus.
Oh, boy. Yeah, who else to punish naughty kids than John assuming the persona of Krampus, stating that this place was his territory and that they needed to steer clear.
It's probably very important that you would pretend that this is, in fact, real.
Yeah. But we let one of the bandits go, saying that he should spread the word not to come here or else Krampus would get them. And, well, unfortunately, Duck Tuckum managed to survive being hit by a tank and launched into the tree line where he ran away, screaming, "You'll never kill Duck Tuckum." We really thought that was the last we saw him, but... Pardon?
I said some of you might know, but that tracks.
Yeah. We thought we saw the last of him, but he was going to become a problem for us further down the line. We, managed to get the people that we had saved that were still alive in the village armed up and gave them some light pointers on how to protect themselves, but Holly went on her way, gifts in hand, and well, we had a job to do. Although we were left with a tank, and we wound up radioing in back to Blackhawk saying that we had a present for her to come pick it up.
Oh, as a side note, I'm reminded, if you ever come across, moldy food, maybe don't eat it. As he gives a pointed look to Richard. Don't save it for later. Don't be like, oh, I can eat nasty food now because I got good food later. Dysentery is a serious disease not to be taken lightly.
Ma told me to not waste food, and I don't want to waste food. This would be, unfortunately, the time I had some pretty severe food poisoning. So, if anything, it's impressive that I helped take over a tank while being food poisoned. But that's beside the point. We don't talk about that, John.
I'm just saying, don't eat bad food.
But that said, radioed in with Blackhawk and told her to pick up a tank, and well, stupidly I did that on public channel, and that would turn to bite us in the ass later on. We decided to keep going on our merry way down to Margaritaville to try and meet this other not infested, I guess. It's what chosen spec. Did we ever really decide what we like calling ourselves?
Fucked up zombies.
Oh, that doesn't really. We had to go meet another chosen, I guess is the best description we have for it.
That's
fine, you pick a good
hell.
name. Look, we're gonna workshop this later with the people here.
Someone like us.
Yes. And made our way down to Margaritaville for once, uninterrupted. We managed to get onto the docks without having to prove that we were bitten, convincing them that they didn't want blood all over their nice boat. And this is where we probably got up to the most trouble we've ever gotten into in our entire journey. Which is insane considering we fought a T-Rex. You want to start off what we did in Margaritaville, John?
Oh, why not? So, we originally there to meet Eric, right? Eric,
yeah.
Some of you might know, was like us. And, well, he... something of a pit fighter.
Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Dude was able to take parts off himself and add new ones on. Did stupid stuff like fight with 3 arms on his body and I think at one point 4 legs. Honestly, the guy was a freak of nature, and I'm kind of glad we don't have him on our team because it would have been a real hard sell that he's a good guy too.
Well, I mean, as John grimaces and shrugged his shoulder. Regardless, he didn't want to leave anyway. Said he had a good thing going. We called him an idiot. And, well, we disagreed, but we're not going to drag him out. Eventually, he did agree to give us a blood sample, though.
That lovely cure we've mentioned earlier.
Nuts.
Yeah, turns out that saving the world from zombies is not as impressive as beating beating easy bandits to death and dining on shrimp.
John gets quiet as he remembers a series of really bad dreams. Anyway, but, well, that's also where we met Georgie. As he nods at Georgie. You put out a Morse code puzzle. Glad those bandits were idiots, because, well, I guess you could have palmed it off as a marketing scheme, but, well, we ended up finding you.
Well, more specifically, Taylor invited us, yeah. Gives a light little wave to Taylor as well.
And we decided to let Tulsa have a little bit of fun, figuring, you know, if he was
we needed money.
Kill somebody, and might as well be in the arena and might as well be bandits, you know, slavers and murderers and all that. So we let him free in the arena.
He got to let out some steam and make us some money, and we joined a resistance fighter group to help you all here escape Margaritaville.
Now, Richard did a little bit of freelance work for someone by the name of Mama Mushu. Then he started working, you know, for Maisie and against Maisie.
Oh, come on, you're glossing over some things. Yeah, we kind of just needed money to survive in Margaritaville. I did some odd jobs. One of them was to mess up a table, and I don't know, be a mobster, I guess, and then, well, got recruited by the gun runner Maisie, who it turns out she's the person we kind of swiped the tank from.
And I happened to turn back into a salesman real quick as I started working with Sammy. Man, well, you know how that plays out, but just to recap, I started
John
building
Enterprise
up
of Food.
I started building up Sammy's food empire with the fattening the pig, as it were. Anyway, we started working with them and started working on a way to destabilize Margaritaville once and for all. We couldn't just, burn it to the ground because then another one would just rise from the ashes. We had to make it implode so that nobody would look at Margaritaville and think it was a good idea again.
Yeah, John managed to leverage his growing little food trade empire to eventually start cutting resources off for food while he was making good with Sammy. And, well, I'll be honest, what I was doing was mostly just gathering information if I could. Maisie was starting to become suspicious of us, and, well, one of the distractions I did when I was messing up that table earlier was leaving a radio on where, well, the tank was mentioned by the Skyways looking for ammo. But we managed to push through. Tulsa kept doing some pretty good work in the fight pit, made a name for himself as the boogeyman. And eventually, Maisie said there was a meeting between her and Sarge, her sworn rival, and the person she was initially convinced stole her tank before she suspected me. We very quickly became aware of the fact that this was a trap for us. So we started planning.
Oddly enough, this is also, as rough as it was, we kind of got to feel human a little bit again. Wish it was in a better place, but, well. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's when we decided to tell Georgie's resistance group about us.
There was something a little bit before we told Georgie. Taylor and I actually got really close when we were working on, I guess, being a little rambunctious throughout the town. She, surprisingly, invited me on a date. And, kind of weird to have my first date in a place like Margaritaville, but...
And after you died, no less.
Yeah.
Winks.
She didn't deserve to be lied to. At the peak of the date, I stopped her and we went aside where I came clean about what we were doing there. And admitted that I was one of the zombies we were looking for blood samples for that cure. She took it about as well as you'd expect. Ran off and, tried to warn Alicado first, the leader of Margaritaville. But, John actually, when I'd let him know what happened, snuck off with Tulsa to, in his part, vouch for me, and Tulsa's, I think he honestly went there to intimidate a little. But managed to talk her down into giving us a chance to explain ourselves. Although at that point I was pretty sure that there would not be any further dates. The next day, we did, like we said, come clean to Georgie. Describing what we were here to do and what we were, and honestly, given this speech one too many times. But they came to the conclusion that if we were the zombies that were out to kill humans, we're really bad at playing the long con for it, which hurt, but is fair, as he does give Slight nod to Georgie. What was it? Heart of sleeve, dumb of ass?
This job.
We did say, though, that we were going to tough it out and stick around to help them with saving everyone here. First, we had the meeting with Maisie. In fact, that's part of why we came out to Georgie, is because we weren't sure what to do with that situation. Had a plan that honestly was a little too smart for us. John went in my place as me. And meanwhile, John, masquerading as Richard's... not as Richard, sorry. Got a little caught up in the moment. John, going as Tulsa's manager for his next fight pit. Well, I went in his stead. And for some reason, we had decided the best disguise for me was a cowboy hat. Which I guess makes sense considering I already had the bandana. But we switched places. John, well, honestly talked circles around Maisie. Made a proper fool of her.
Which is really funny wearing Richard's skin, let me tell you what.
Yeah. And I, on the other hand, I managed to call out to Tulsa in his pit fight when Duck Tuckum was trying to make him bleed and expose what we were. That, of course, got me caught out as they thought I was John. Because, well, I, Richard, was with Maisie at the time. And, well, they weren't expecting us to trade places. I was definitely looking for that fight that was bringing, and John... Well, John, how about you share the stupid bullshit you pulled with Maisie and got away with?
Gladly. So Maisie had set up this perfect plan to capture me out in the crowd and to expose Tulsa as a zombie and to, well, browbeat Richard, the heart of sleeve, dumb of ass, golden-hearted character. And I managed to convince everybody during this meeting with Sarge that Maisie was going crazy, was unhinged, was paranoid and seeing conspiracy everywhere. That's when she pulled out, I think it was a damn Scorpion submachine gun or something, I don't know. Ended up shooting me, and well, I do happen to bleed rotten blood. But kind of proud of this. I managed to keep it together just long enough to play it off like she hit me with paintball rounds. It was a desperate ace to pull out of my sleeve, but ended up paying off. Eventually,
somehow this motherfucker managed to convince everyone that Maisie was willing to shoot people with black paint to show they bled like zombies.
Yeah. And, well, amidst all of that, that's when about all the chaos started happening.
Yeah, Duck Tuckum was getting real rowdy on the fact that he wasn't able to get Tulsa bleeding, so he, pulled out some grenades. Which was really unfortunate because I had dropped down into the pit into a dark corner to hide from the guards that were now chasing after me. Those explosions drawed the fight to a fail screeching halt. Apparently you're not supposed to use bombs on a boat.
Yeah, bad idea, but... Well...
Tulsa and I got out of Dodge, and that's when we heard the gunshots as well. Let's be real. Oh, big firefight popped off with you, John.
Huh. He nods. Yeah, Sergeant Maisie came to blows after that. I believe the aftermath of that was both Sarge and Maisie were jailed by Alicado. And that's when we turned our sights on him.
We managed to pick up John as he was clipped in the side of the head.
Yeah. That's about when we split. Richard and Tulsa were gonna blow up the exchange. They were gonna start destabilizing Margaritaville while I came here and started sowing the seeds. Well, that's about when I killed Sammy. And I apologize to you all as I had to play the part for a few days while I started weakening the farm. I was Sammy for the last few days. I had to make sure that people he had left still believed it was me. But while I was doing that,
I was
Richard
getting up to
and
trouble.
nuts.
We managed to steal some C4 while I was checking out Sarge's tent earlier, and decided the best way to make use of it was to put it on the big bank boat they had in the middle of Margaritaville. Had a bit of fumbling with that one, but we proper sunk that place, and well, that's when things started to quickly go to shit. They declared martial law, and well, you don't really enforce laws on a bandit city. People were getting real mad, especially the fact that they were having guns taken away as well. And, well, we used that as a chance to keep stirring more trouble. One of the pit fighters, who clearly didn't want to be there, Lady Mirage, was a slave like all of you at one point. And we had pulled her aside to see if she'd maybe help the resistance with freeing everyone. She was hesitant at first, but I managed to negotiate something with her.
Going to
She
be a fly on the wall there. Richard engaging in diplomacy.
was amazing. That said, she agreed that as long as we'd kill one of the other fighters, Sandman, who she was set up to go against, it'd give her time to kill her own manager, clear her name from the list, and escape. We did so. I had managed to lure him into an alleyway, and well, we were expecting a hell of a fight, and well, Tulsa made it. Oh man, honestly, it was kind of. Tulsa killed him. I'm just gonna say that. It was quick and it was brutal. With that, though, we decided to head back, but Tulsa wanted to look into Duck Tuckum. We had failed to kill Duck Tuckum when we first met him. Tulsa missed out on his chance to kill him in the pit, and he wasn't going to let that go. We had followed Duck Tuckum, who we had heard, well, he had heard, had escaped his prison cell as Alicado was holding Maisie, Sarge, and him aside for the trouble they were causing. It was a trap. It goes without saying. I realized too late and showed up after things had already kicked off. Only for I myself to also start getting pinned down by bandits that were in wait for me. Tulsa died that night. After we, honestly had been fighting over some different views of the world. But, just after we were starting to make up too. Was caught in an explosion from Duck Tuckums and stupid-ass grenades, and I got pinned to a wall by a harpoon and tasered into unconsciousness. I wound up waking up in a jail cell, where Maisie had taken me in, and that's where we found out she was starting a coup. She had killed Alicado while they were having a meeting, and had set up this trap to capture me, and I think she initially planned to capture Tulsa as well, but yeah. From there, she fed me. The fat man himself. Stupidly enough, I'd given her evidence to finally out the fact that there were zombies here in Margaritaville. During this, she also radioed in on John. And, well, made a real big show that I was going to be executed soon, and John dropped what he was doing after filling in for Sammy to try and come and rescue me. How did you get back, by the way? I remember you crashed into here with a boat.
Oh, that's a bit of a long, boring story, but
Oh, no. Go on.
crazy drugged out man came out on a crazy drugged out boat, and the crazy drugged out boat was a death trap, and I managed to cling onto it as if I was riding a rocket all the way back to Margaritaville. Nearly died in that crash, but I made it.
Uh,
And then one thing led to another, and here we are. I think that's where we don't have to get the story.
no. We gotta. Look, I'm not proud of it either, but we agreed to tell them everything.
All right.
When John got here, I had actually already escaped. Maisie, probably to taunt me, left me
hold
with
up.
Tulsa's hook.
Escaped. All right. As he gestures towards Taylor. All right. Hello, Escape. How you doing?
I was escaping first, and then, well, I'm getting to that. I'd managed to break free of my cell using Tulsa's hook, ripped the bars right out of the frame, and, just as I was dealing with the guards, I saw my own savior. Taylor decided to use some of our leftover explosives to blow up a wall, and, was here to break me out.
When movies finally come back, I'm directing this one. I can see this cinematography already.
We wound up retreating to safety where we actually bumped into John on the way out, and obviously John was a little surprised that I had already gotten free. And that boat was sinking behind me since there was a big hole in it suddenly. We had managed to meet up with Georgie back at his restaurant where we'd talk shop. Things were full-blown going to hell. Avocado was dead. Maisie was, well, trying to take his place and was about to out that we were zombies here. We had to come up with a plan. We had to come up with a couple of plans, honestly. We had to deal with Maisie, and we still had to get all of you out.
And really quick, might I add, this was like absolutely no notice. Had that drop of a hat come up with this plan. As he briefly glances to Taylor. So just keep that in mind going forward.
We made it work.
Yes, I remind you, we made it work.
First things first, I was the only one that Maisie knew about, confirmed. Because, well, she captured me and had me eat a guy, and had his body. Well, actually, in retrospect, that body was probably at the bottom of the ocean by then. But we still needed to deal with her. John decided to take the guise of Avocado, wounded, and shot in the head, but had survived. And, well, I was going to be made to disappear through an execution. He took me out as a prisoner and confronted Maisie alongside Sarge with a shiny new toy that Sarge had cooked up for Avocado. He killed Maisie, and she was no longer a problem. Fortunately, he kept the gun. As we moved on to, well, do my execution, had a big old show going on. Everyone was watching. We needed to make sure everyone thought I was gone. Duck Tuckum came out and accused Avocado of being dead. Which he was, but, you didn't have to know that was John.
It was right for the wrong reasons again, but...
Stupidly enough, he accused Avocado of being a ghost. And not the zombie one, like an actual ghost. Threw salt at John.
Actually hit me with salt.
I won't lie. I got a little uppity at that point, and John decided that instead of me breaking the immersion, that was the time to execute me. Unfortunately, in my flailing, he shot me right in the heart. And,
still hurts. Doesn't beat.
Yeah.
Still hurts.
Still hurts. I fell into that ocean unconscious. But
that's when Taylor rescued you for like a third time.
Yeah, she managed to, well, not necessarily with your help, did fish me out of the waters.
I was busy.
Oh man, the talking to we got after that one. John managed to get me back together though. with, well, honestly, some means we don't need to talk about. It was visceral.
That's when I
From there,
ordered
though,
all the all y'all on the boat.
yeah, that comes in the second part of our plan. Now that I was gone, and the only person who was confirmed zombie was no longer alive, this was our chance for us to, well, start moving forward with getting you guys out of here. We noticed the pleasure boat was big enough to carry everyone here. John, as Alicado, said that we needed to keep people from getting infected and ushered you all on there. Meanwhile, I, the recently deceased, quote unquote, and Taylor were gonna go clear out that boat of guards. It went relatively well. She lured them in, I killed them, we threw them out the boat. Eventually started drawing in sharks because we were putting so many bodies out there. Had to start hiding them in closets. Room got really messy. Had a weird couples argument that we're not going to get into right now. But,
Look how you brought it up.
well, that was my second date.
You can call that a date. As he looks to Taylor and mouths silently, "I'm so sorry."
I think it was her, the one that called it a date. She does give him, or he does give her a quizzical glance. We laughed about it, though. It was a weird day. While I was clearing out the boat, though, with Taylor, John kept making things go rough. He, when he had closed off the trade route with Sammy, since Sammy was dead and not delivering food from the farm to Margaritaville, then followed it up by saying, we need to keep the supplies from being infected with zombies, and also had all the food from Margaritaville moved onto the boat that we were about to sail away with. After everyone was on board and the supplies were on, we took that as our cue to start getting the hell out of there. We gave a big pretty middle finger as we tried to sail off into the sunset, and, well, once again, Duck Tuckum, who survived being shot when he interrupted my execution, still stuck around.
By a tank and a grenade, and this man would just
not fucking die. Managed to keep the boat from setting sail by pulling the fucking harpoon lodged into it, of all things.
With some other people, but yeah.
Oh, let's be real, it was mostly him.
It was mostly him. Man was
But,
building the tank himself.
Oh God, at least he didn't have the weird small legs. But he got on the boat and decided to make one final stand against us. It got a little dicey at first, but well, he went down, and I made sure he stayed down. Put a hook right through his throat and tore it clean out. And well, we're finally free of Margaritaville. He was dead. The people weren't able to hold the boat in. Well, you know, Georgie and his crew were pulling the boat with their own motorboat, rigged up with that weird engine that you were talking about, on, by the way. So,
Seriously,
you know,
man, rocket.
nearly killed you, saved all these people. Yeah, rocket on water, as he described it. And, well, here we are now. When we had showed up to the farm, there were some zombies about that had been, well, looking for one of the people we had recently come into, but, well, they've been dealt handily, and they've since left. And, well, that was this morning, and here we are tonight. Man, that has been a really fucking busy month.
A long ass month.
As there is kind of this shocked silence that goes on around the entire group. For Georgie finally breaks it as he turns to the two of you and, zombie T-Rex? Really?
Yeah,
he puts a hand on his chest and raises a hand to the other one. He's like, I swear to God.
Yeah,
Stop my heart. Oh, wait a minute.
Shut up, John. Really, though? The zombie T-Rex is the one you're weirded out about?
I mean, to be fair.
Well, if I gotta put them in order, that one's pretty high.
That's fair.
But you can radio in the caravan, or hey, if you can confirm it with Samantha Blackhawk.
Actually, technically, you're not allowed to talk about that. That one's apparently still,
Is that
oh,
classified?
shit.
Oh,
That
no.
was classified.
Oh, damn it. We didn't say it, you didn't hear it.
Or if you do say it, you didn't hear it from us, and one of her soldiers talked.
Yeah.
So he shakes his head. Yeah, that sounds like Blackhawk. As he kind of reaches back to the bag and pauses for a moment, brings out the large CB radio and fiddles with it for a second. And hang on a second. I don't remember seeing this channel. As we will go ahead and take a quick break. As now we come back to the campfire, as you see Georgie fish out the CB radio out of his pack and looks at it and furrows his brow for a moment as he kind of starts to fiddle with it and saying his activity on a channel that doesn't exist. Is it broken? As Richard, Taylor kind of looks to you, and you can see a little bit of excitement in her eyes.
Would I recognize this in any way?
You might remember that, you had set up a secret channel to communicate with the caravan on the promise of the Redwood Trove.
Richard does furrow his brow for a moment, and then... Oh, fuck, right, yeah. Yeah, sorry about that, Georgie. We fucked with your radio a bit.
Sorry, what?
Just pick it up.
He looks a little offended for a moment, for he turns it on, fiddles with it for a bit, the static clears out, and then you can hear a slightly tinny, but familiar voice of Rohan as that says, I repeat, anyone hear me? Does anyone copy? Hello?
Rohan, is that you?
As Georgie hands over the radio, and is that Richard I hear?
Damn right it is. God, it's good to hear your voice after a while. How you doing?
Oh, it is good to hear your voice too, and pretty sure that I've stopped vomiting, and my lungs are still inside of me, so better. A whole hell of a lot better.
You alright?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's well, there's a lot of shit that's kind of gone down that figured I gotta fill you in on. You in a good spot to talk for a second?
John kind of looks around at the group and shrugs and yeah.
Is this something that's okay for other people to hear, or?
Well, if you trust them.
Well, I mean, we kind of just told them about us, so yeah, I guess so.
I feel like that's becoming a lower bar of trust for these days, or nowadays for you too.
Well, all right, okay.
How many people?
A lot. Whoever wants to stick around, as he kind of looks to the crowd for a moment and shrugs.
Which a few wander off, but most of them seem to stay.
You got an audience, Rohan.
Oh, well, hey there, I guess. I'm feeling I should introduce myself now. My name's Rohan. I'm with the caravan. Formerly a leader of the scouts there. Well, You remember what we talked about with the redwood trove and everything?
A little bit.
Yeah.
So, I guess to refresh the audience, I didn't realize I had a,
Oh, by the way, everyone, this is the guy we talked about how we saved 2 scouts. He was one of them. He was actually the only one of the 2 that thanked us.
the guy chuckles and, well, I mean, you did get yourself potentially executed to save my hide, so least I could do.
But, yeah, did you manage to find the trove, or?
Yeah, a whole lot went down between then and there. But, I guess first things first, Henry's a zombie. I'm assuming that's not a surprise to either of you.
No, can't say. Wait, no, Henry's a zombie? Oh, well, I hope he's alright.
Very funny. But, yeah, Henry had his own, what do you call it, coming out of the coffin moment with
That's
the caravan?
Right. That's
yeah,
right.
that's the word we use.
And, I mean, most of us were pretty cool with it, obviously. He'd been with us for a while. Like you guys, we knew if he was up to something, he would have tried it by now. Except Nephesia, of course. That was kind of the
Yeah, we
final
heard about
straw.
what she's doing.
Yeah. So, considering the fact that Free Zone still hasn't gotten off their ass about Caesar and that mustard gas attack, Wachowski headed back to the Free Zone. Try to undo some of the damage Nephesia's causing and get him focused. Left Henry in charge of the caravan for a little bit.
Oh, good for him.
We during that time we got some new members, Roy and Curtis. I think you'd like them. One's a bit more talkative than the other, but they're pretty solid. Caught up with JR, and we own a talking head.
There's a long silence, and John's like, wait, what?
We're gonna circle back to the head part in a moment, but what's happening with JR? Last time we talked to him, he hung up on us on the radio, and well, he's pretty sour with me.
Well, skip ahead a bit, but he backstabbed us. Hard. Nearly got us all killed.
John looks to Richard just like aghast.
Richard is stone-faced in this.
Yeah, you remember how we set up this radio with a secret channel specifically so that zombies couldn't overhear, couldn't intercept. Turns out the second he did that, he made a copy radio with this channel. Snuck it to Dog. Then he worked to slow us down, and everyone else looking for the trove, long enough for Dog to infect all the food and medical supplies.
Fuck.
Yeah.
How are people, like, it sounds like it hit everyone then?
Oh yeah, it hit everyone, and
What? Everyone. Rohan, are you okay?
yeah, see former comment about puke it up guts, but shit. I got to take a step back for a second, because there's a lot of weird science been going on. I mean, obviously, with the carries, a lot of weird science going on.
Caroline.
And, Caroline and Henry. By the way, they're a thing now.
Wait, what?
Oh. I didn't realize Henry could feel that for anyone, but go on.
Didn't realize Carolyn could feel that for anyone, but
That's...
yeah, hence the whole Carrie thing. Caroline, Henry. I think it's stupid, but it started catching on, and so.
Okay, no more interruptions, please. You have. I have so many questions, but please.
Talking head? Let's circle back to that.
So, talking head. Henry decapitated a zombie to do experiments on, I guess, and the head gained sentience and started talking, and its name is Count Saint Germain.
What? Nope.
I don't-
Please
Oh.
continue.
Just wait
Is
for
that
the
a reference
weirdest
to
part.
that, or
It's some illusion that goes way over my head. But buckle in for the weirdest part, because apparently it's indirectly John's kid.
As John just like jaw drops, almost unhinges.
John? Did you fuck a zombie?
What the fuck?
Over
No.
the
What the
radio?
hell you? It's just John just looks disgusted at Richard.
Yeah.
He said he was your fucking kid.
Well, here comes weird science discovery number 1. We figured out what an alpha strain is.
Okay.
Please.
According to something Caroline went on about parasonic siphonophores and mRNA strand mutations.
You're already losing me.
Yeah, well, welcome to my world. But we think the alpha strains are engineered prototypes. Every time the virus mutates and shifts, it needs a case 0 to study on. Like, for instance, Dog and the Ferals.
Okay.
And, as there's a pause, and you can almost feel him debate whether or not he wants to ask this before he continues. And, by the way, Richard, when did you get infected?
Pretty much right at the beginning. Why?
It's just a theory Caroline's been working on. A complete theory. I mean, she needs lots of samples and science stuff to test it, but she
Richard
thinks
gives a very nervous look to Taylor at this point.
she thinks you may have been the prototype for the ghouls.
Damn.
Furrows his brow.
It makes sense though, but damn.
Yeah, I'm not. Okay, so just to clarify, when you said John's kid, you mean John's like the prototype?
Yeah,
Obviously, it.
for something we're calling demi-liches. They're apparently talking heads. They don't have free will.
Demi, let's just. I love it.
Strangely enough, seems whoever picks them up first, gets them kind of as a servant for life.
Kind of like the acolytes, almost.
Yeah, exactly. Except it's even like acolytes. It kind of seems like a choice. This is just flat out no free will. Seems like Count Saint Germain just has to do anything Henry tells him to. And weird science fact number 2. Count Saint Germain can do a lot of psychic stuff. And when I say a lot of psychic stuff, I mean this hive mind thing we've been learning about, that is just barely the surface.
Like, when you say psychic, do you mean specifically zombie stuff, or is he like bending spoons?
He's not doing that, thankfully. It's only so much weird I can take. But, yeah, apparently there is a psychic field that even humans are connected to.
Psychic
Okay.
zombies.
Yeah.
And this
And-
apocalypse couldn't get any weirder.
Yeah, and this hive mind thing, I mean, it's really hard to follow Count Saint Germain. I mean, it's kind of like Carolyn, but filter it through Shakespeare. But
John just like boggling his mind.
he
Just in my head picturing her in a fucking like Shakespearean costume now.
But way he describes the hive mind, it's not a single thing. It's like layers, and he can hack it. Like hack it. Like mind control zombies if he wants to.
Okay, and you're certain he's like on your side, right?
Well, I mean, not entirely. He's definitely got some Tulsa-like ideas about which one's better, humans or zombies. But he also fits into the palm of Henry's hand when he's not big-sized. And Henry's made it very clear what the rules are, so, you know.
Okay, that's.
Don't want to repeat it, JR.
Hey,
Yeah.
quick weird question. Hey, Henry and Carolyn aren't there right now, right?
No, not at the moment. They're in the bus.
Richard's gonna look around for a moment and then like leaning over and hushing with the radio. Have they kissed and has it been like fine for them?
John just like suppresses a laugh.
Not in public, though. I'm gonna be honest with you. Considering how those two talk, it's the romance is kind of bundled underneath lots of science terms, and in and around, and it's. Well, I mean, heck, you know how Carolyn talks, right?
Yeah,
I'll
lots of
try
words
not
we
to
don't
think
get.
about it.
And you know about how vocal and forthcoming with his thoughts Henry is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now imagine the two of them working together.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Well, because I'm too embarrassed to ask Henry about it directly, I need to know if it's okay to kiss my girlfriend that I have now. We'll get into that later. But last time I tried to ask Henry about this, he outed me to her, and we had a weird argument about it. So, ask and get back to me on that.
You want me to ask Henry if it's okay to kiss your girlfriend?
You
Can I
worded
just
it in a weird way, but like, yes.
ask why the hell are two dead men getting more action in the apocalypse than I am?
How many zombie T-Rexes did you fight?
Okay, fair, but last time I checked, Henry didn't fight any. Feels like I'm getting stiffed.
Gosh, dang.
You know what? I don't know about that part.
Gosh, dang.
Look, that aside, so he can hack the zombies and is on your side. John and I were prototypes for the bad shit that's roaming this wasteland.
And Henry.
And
And any Alpha strain.
I think we have a pretty good idea of what the fuck came from Henry.
Well, see, that's kind of the funny thing. It's not tanks.
What?
We double-checked the dates from when Henry was infected and when the tanks came around. Tanks were definitely around first.
What's coming from him then?
No idea.
Oh, that's scary.
That's not a good fucking sign, Rohan. What the hell?
Yeah, well. Yeah, I have to agree with you there. And I mean, it also gives question about stuff like Susanna and Eric and
And
Jamal.
speaking of, you said Dog got involved.
Oh yeah. Well, Dog and I guess a little Jamal update too. So apparently, fun fact, JR can run fast enough to trigger whatever satellites the US government still has up and about.
You're still around?
Yeah, we actually got pulled over by them. Seems they've actually deployed a force for the mainland. It's not all bluster and talk. They've actually done it.
What the fuck is going on with being pulled over in the apocalypse? Yeah, just continue.
And we learned a little bit from them. Apparently, they're stationed up in Oregon. There's some amusement park with electricity still running. They're investigating. And they've been pulling out zombies with mechanical parts fused into them.
Well, that checks out for what was in the letter for Jamal.
And
so what? We now got fucking cyborg zombies running about.
Apparently.
Fuck off.
Though, platoon we ran into is dead.
Sorry, repeat that?
Platoon's dead. We, well, after encountering them, they admitted they were in a pretty bad way. Came back. Someone chucked a hellhound head into their water supply without them realizing it. Everyone got
Damn.
infected. Yeah, and we tried our best. Lord, did we try. But, they didn't make it.
Guessing that was the Orca dog who's probably stalking you guys, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Well, and, I don't think you knew him, but Haas Christensen's dead too.
Big name.
Yeah, I'm familiar. There was mention that there was a funeral going on.
Yeah. He was, well, I mean, he stuck it out on the apocalypse on his own. Hell of a long time. And, well, we were competing to get to the Trove first. And, we managed to waylay him. It's only later we found out that, JR double backed without telling any of us and, murdered him.
Shit, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then, like I said, he also managed to slow us down, gave Dog enough time to infect all the food supplies, and just like that, whole caravan was infected. Except Roy and Curtis, they were the only humans left. They did some weird spiritualism fast, right on top of it for some reason. Saved our fucking hides, though, considering that they followed that up with an actual warband on us.
So are you saying just two guys took out a warband?
Yeah, that might be something to discuss in private without so much of an audience.
And
But,
you're certain they're human, right?
well, as far as I can tell, I mean, be honest, who knows these days, but they certainly got hungry like humans.
Well, maybe have Carolyn poke him with the stick when everyone's feeling better.
Yeah. But, we did manage to get it out. There's this whole psychic network Count St. Germain's a part of. And, apparently someone contacted him. Gave him enough knowledge to, reverse the, virus. Actually, pump the virus into Henry. Count St. Germain then mentally weakened the virus while Henry fought it off cyclically. Lot of stuff I don't understand, but thought
This
that
is
weird.
going from medical stuff to sci-fi bullshit, I hope you know.
Believe me, I know 100%.
As John looks to Georgie, yeah, zombie T-Rex doesn't sound too far-fetched now, does it?
And he just kind of shrugs and leans back, no retort. The radio.
Speaking of things contacting your talking head, you wouldn't happen to know if Susanna might have one?
Talking head? I mean,
Yeah.
maybe. There was. So, from what I can tell from Count Saint Germain, he encountered. Well, there was 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 specific entities. There's one he doesn't have a good grasp of. Just seemed to kind of be poking in, looking for something, not finding it, and going away.
All right.
There's someone he called Sir, who is apparently the fucking old commander-in-chief of Archangel, working around on the zombie side, so, that's nice.
Okay. Lovely.
And like I said, there was the person who contacted us, told us how to reverse it, only referred to himself as Alex.
As John just shoots Richard a wide-eyed look.
Yeah, we know Alex, but you sure it was him?
Yeah, I mean, he said, like I said, I didn't get a good look. Count Saint Germain was the one to talk to him, and apparently he didn't even have a physical form, but he just said, "Hey, he used to be called the Conduit. His name is Alex."
John's eyes widen even more.
Do you know if Saint Germain still has contact with him?
I can ask, but from what I can tell, seems like everyone that was zipping around on that psychic network cleared out.
Fuck. We'll get back to you on that one later.
The people who
JR
left this group are gonna get an earful from the people who stuck around. Like, you're not gonna guess what the hell just happened after you left.
JR and Doc, what's their situation? You guys
Oh,
still running from them, or?
no, I have no idea where JR is. He cleared out. But I do got one piece of good news.
Yeah?
You don't have to worry about Dog anymore.
John
What do you
again
mean?
looks to Richard and looks to the radio. What?
Yeah. Here's the funniest part. You want to know how he went?
Yeah.
Landmine.
As John just busts out laughing.
Oh,
Like,
fuck.
just like falls back onto the ground laughing.
I oh man, Rohan. That was like the first way he managed to threaten us with a fake landmine.
Oh, yeah, I know. Toss has a few stories of his own, too. And, yeah, Roy and Curtis really karma'd him on that one.
Oh,
Oh,
fuck.
poetic.
I'm so glad he's gone.
Oh, that's poetic. Oh, that is good news. Thank you,
That means
Rohan.
Mudtown's safe for now, at very least.
Yeah, you're
Well,
welcome.
Fuck.
But,
So, everyone made it out of the virus?
Yeah.
You're making it sound like a lot of people got infected, but a lot of people came out of it scot-free.
oh,
Well,
yeah.
they-
No.
Pumped it into Henry, and then
And
This is
yeah,
where
is Henry okay?
Yeah, Henry's fine. This is where the weird science stuff happens. Apparently, the virus isn't a virus. It's some kind of organism called a siphonophore. It's made up of a bunch of little animals that turn into bigger animals when they all connect together, and there's a kind of magnetism to them. You can draw more of them in with a big enough magnet.
You could slowly watch Richard tuning out John as like immediately this is just like, oh, we're back to the science weird.
so it's a megazord of little tiny microscopic animals.
Yeah, that's about all I understood, because past that point, Carolyn started talking about zooids, and I'm still not sure I understand what that word means.
Wasn't that like a TV show about robot tigers?
John just kind of wavers a hand.
Hell, if you
That's-
got me. I asked for an explanation, and I got they are the intermediary point between a spectrum of colony animals and full-on organisms.
Anyways. So I guess where does that leave us? We heard about the funeral and we're gonna be heading over ourselves after we make a pit stop in Mudtown.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Wachowski will too, if he can stabilize enough stuff on the free zone. But well, damn, I mean, stuff we lost, there was enough food in there to feed an army for 15, 20 years.
Oh, man.
Full-on suite of medical supplies. It was about as well stocked as any hospital we raided. All
I
of
know
it's
it's-
useless.
No way to like clean it in any way.
No, I mean, apparently not. He was fucking thorough. Every single package. Every single one. And, by the way, infected in such a way that he didn't break any of the sealing. Like, we're talking syringes and They were planning this for a while, I think.
At least there was guns in there and stuff, right?
Yeah, we did salvage a good amount of ammo, but we got maybe a 20th of what we could have gotten if we'd been a little more aware.
Damn.
If we had given ourselves away with the radio.
Oh, well, like I
I mean, we
said,
wouldn't have been able to let them know without it, so. Well, at least things, I guess, net gain, technically. Well, lost a Wasteland legend, killed another one. Well, yeah, does dog count as a legend?
Dog. And yeah, probably.
You've probably heard by now, but we also got some good news out on our end.
yeah?
Margaritaville's gone. Or going. I think I can actually still see some of the fire out in the dark here.
I didn't actually hear that. What, you took the whole place out?
Set it afire. Made it eat itself in its last death throes. It's likely that it's not coming back.
You know, the weird thing is, I don't think any of us started those fires that I'm seeing.
Alicado, Maisie, Sarge, Duck Tuckum, they're all gone.
Wow.
Freed all the slaves that were there, though. Though, what was the manifest? 500 as I'm kind of leaning to Georgie.
As he nods, and you hear on the radio, what, is just a hat trick?
Yeah, something like that.
They're, well, I guess in kind of a weird little revenge for them, they've now got access to the farm that was running the place. They're armed up, and they're kind of free to do what they will. We suspect a lot of them are probably going to form their own little settlement here, so... if the caravan's around, feel free to make a pit stop.
Wow. Another group of paying customers. Richard, I could kiss you if you aren't too busy with your girlfriend.
First off, shut up. Second off, we still need to make sure it's okay to do properly.
And third off, they could absolutely use some help. Some might want to get back to the homes that they were getting to, but they were taken from, but might not have the means to do it.
Well,
I don't know if you're going to be in the area anytime soon, but they could maybe use some transportation.
it might take a while. We're on our way to California at the moment, but if they want to stick around, any of them that can't pay with goods, they always accept labor.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are growing. Speaking of California, after we stop by the funeral, that's kind of where we're thinking of heading, so you'll probably beat us there, but we might meet you there part way.
That or the free zone. Might want to touch base there.
Yeah. About that. Can I have that discussion in private? And as he says that, John, you actually feel a very slight, hesitant, frightened tug at your sleeve.
He'll look to, presuming Emily?
Yes, Emily.
Yes, he'll look over to Emily and raise an eyebrow.
As she very quietly whispers, Timbo told me it was important to give you this. As she hands you a stack of papers.
He furrows his brow.
Hey, Rohan, hold that thought.
As he nods to her. Thank you, Al. I'll take a look at it. All right.
Open that up in stream here as well. Because I have the power to do so. Gladly.
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh.
The Raggedy Man's new friend. And we got a nice little picture of Moran. And
I love the hell out of you.
Did you draw it yourself, Noah?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
I actually had to buy crayons because I didn't have any crayons.
Oh, fuck me. All right.
Brian, you want to read this out loud?
Sure thing. The Raggedy Man's New Friend by Emily and Timbo. Once upon a time, the Raggedy Man had lots of friends, and there's a picture of the Raggedy Man, a bunch of zombies, and a dog. But his bestest friend was his magic talking dog. But then, the alligator people started to kill his friends. That's
I
us.
love
What do you have
this
to
so fucking much now.
And they
You might
blew
not
up
have understood
his
it.
dog. This made the Raggedy Man very sad. So he asked some of his other friends for help. He asked his outer space friends. I take it back, I hate this. And he asked his scary friends. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh. And he
Yeah, I
even
told you
asked
that.
his super secret downstairs friends.
I
Oh,
told you
no.
you spoke too soon.
Oh no, X2. Is that. Is that a raft demon? I take it back. I love it. I hate it, but I love it.
These are so good. For anyone watching this, I just want to make a comment here. These are basically child drawings of our previous adventures throughout the campaigns. Oh, man.
His super secret downstairs friends. And together they decided to make him a new friend. One that would get rid of the alligator people. Oh no! Noah! And they called him the Hanging Judge.
I don't know if I have the heart to tell Emily this is a really shit story.
And the Raggedy Man was so happy. To Wonderland, he took them all to Wonderland to get his wish. The end. Damn it, Noah. Damn it, Noah. That's Puck. That's
That
the
is, in fact-
whale.
Hey,
That's a
Rohan,
demon with...
we'll talk with you in a moment. I'm gonna post that on Twitter later if you can get me those images.
Sure.
That's the
All right, everyone.
Ridley.
Show's over. We got some business stuff we got to talk about.
But yeah, that's us. That's what's been going on so far. Like we heard, if you look to move on but can't move on, Caravan will be making their way this way. You can probably hitch a ride with them if you need to.
Otherwise, you got a lot of stuff to build a life here with. What's left here?
And
That said, we're gonna. I'm gonna look to Taylor and Georgie and it's like, look, this is gonna get into some real weird shit. How we talked about world being bigger than it seemed. This is it. Feel free to come with, but honestly, it's probably stuff you'd rather not know.
as the crowd kind of confusedly on the note you ended at disperses. And there's a moment where Georgie and Taylor kind of look to each other and then stand up to follow the two of you.
And we're gonna go. I guess we head to Sammy's office because we know that's like cleared out.
Yeah, as you head back into this old empty plantation now house, you climb up the stairs into the room where Sammy died and sit behind this large desk.
Is there still like a streak of blood across the wooden floor from John trying to drag him?
Yeah, for sure.
Beautiful.
And, as you guys kind of gather around, the radio crackles on, and you still there?
Yeah, sorry, we're just finding a place to talk. We just got a note related to some of the bigger picture stuff you might be around to drop on us, but how about you go first?
Well, just wanted to ask. Look, I'm not the smartest man alive, but I'm also not an idiot. And I'm also not going to pretend to understand everything I saw or even understand if what I saw was real.
Yeah.
I mean, as you guys have firsthand knowledge, get infected. There's real fucking weird shit to you. Hallucinations, memories. I also can't get him to admit it, but I think Count Saint Germain was in my head for a second there as well. But as I was laying infected, with Roy and Curtis fighting off one of the biggest war bands I ever saw, I saw some things I don't think can fully be explained by psychosis.
Alright.
As there were things on the zombie side. There was something that looked like a man, but with dressed all in rags and alien tentacles coming out of his backside. There was some creature dressed in ragged yellow robes. Man whose face was obscured by shadows.
Kind of thumbing through these pictures that I'm sure we've splayed out on the desk at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And look to Georgie and Taylor. Like, look, we didn't, like, no, this is multiple sources coming together at once.
Who, both of them seem incredibly focused on what's happening. And just quiet and listening as Rohan continues. And then I saw stuff on our side.
Okay.
Well, there was something tall and like it walked like a man, but it was covered in fur and neon colored. And there was
something looked like a Sasquatch.
Yeah, kind of. If
a little gay.
I guess it was definitely fluorescent and something else. There was a person, I think, dressed in.
Wait, hold up. Dressed in like finery, but almost looks like he was made out of candy. Probably had some Twizzlers.
Yeah. And well, there was a woman in silver armor and a man with a cloak of black feathers. And as there's a very long pause, as you could tell, this is the part he definitely doesn't want to say before he continues. And John, Richard, I think I saw angels.
Okay. Between the angels and Rainbow Sasquatch and Candyman, the angels is the one that weirds you out?
Okay, Candyman's something different. This is Mr. Twizzles, okay?
I mean, look, I've never been particularly religious. I wasn't before the world ended, and especially now. I mean, I know what those Church of Wonders nutsos believe, but look through the Book of Revelations, and then you look around, you don't see a whole lot of things matching up. So,
well, I think you and we are learning the world's a whole lot bigger than what we thought it was.
Well, Rohan, whenever it gets too scary, what was the number one rule in the Wasteland?
From you?
Yes, our rule.
As there's a long pause and admit everything to the first strangers you find.
Look at the other rule.
The second rule. Did we not tell them the other rule?
I don't think we did. We should start our own Wasteland Survival. No. Hold on. We should start our Weird World Survival Guide. Rule number 1, as he emphasizes 1, don't think about it.
Yeah, things are gonna get probably really crazy for you in the next couple of days, Rohan. But
crazier.
The best thing you can do is not let it drag you down and just do the best you can at that moment.
Now, when we say don't think about it, we actually mean, and it's a whole lot more deep than it sounds. As he looks at Georgie and Taylor, just nodding slowly. It's stay grounded. I mean, you still got your people around you. Yeah, the world's a whole lot bigger, but don't change much down here at the ground level.
Also,
Still gotta
apparently,
carry
you can't really
on.
do much about it, but you can shoot a zombie in the face. So focus on that.
And more. The way you can fight those big bad nasties is to, well, try and make the world a better place, whatever that looks like. Spread, hope, joy. Save the world one day at a time. One meal delivered to those in need, one shelter given to those without.
As
500 people saved from slavery.
Okay, all right. It's not a competition, but we are winning.
as there is a chuckle, and well, I suppose showboating aside, doesn't sound like a bad rule.
It's got us as far as we've gotten. Because, well, there's a reason we didn't really talk about this last few times we've met you guys.
Oh,
So hang on. You knew about all this stuff way back the first time we met.
We knew about some of it.
Right.
The
it's a bit strong, but
Okay.
we had an idea.
yeah,
We actually just got a note locking in some of the stuff you just told us that was also new to us.
Okay, you guys have any more earth-shattering secrets that make me question everything I thought I ever knew that you just want to get out of the way now?
I mean, we already said Richard had a girlfriend. That you can't top that.
Well, you do got a point there.
Gives them the what the fuck look, like looking at Taylor as well.
Ooh, she does give a kind of pointed elbow jab to you, John, before you do see a kind of poorly hidden smirk on her own face.
But no, we're frankly, it took us a whole lot longer than you to come to terms with it. Well, ask Henry about his first dream after he died. You'll know. We might have had similar dreams, but I denied it. I'll admit.
I thought I just was hallucinating.
Same. Then one of them met us, and I was still kind of thinking maybe we were. Well, I guess we met them. Still kind of thinking I was hallucinating.
Actually, hold on. Hold on. Space friends. Weren't we told that aliens weren't real, John?
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, bad news. Aliens don't exist.
Oh.
There you go. There's your earth-shattering revelation.
As there's a pause, and then, yeah, okay, why not? Apparently, you know about that too.
What?
What?
I was about to ask, how the hell do you know about that? But I suppose I shouldn't doubt anything that comes out of your mouth at this point.
Well, the Twizzler man told us about it.
Okay.
Man, that sentence out of context. Actually, in context, it doesn't sound any less insane.
Well. Oh yeah, there's fucking. There's also a goat thing I forgot to mention too.
Goat thing?
Goat thing?
Yeah. It's the only way I know how to describe it. It was like a mass of eyes and ended in two horns. Gave a ghoul wings, if you can believe that. But I still don't. But that is one I can back up. Roy and Curtis saw that one.
Sorry, hold on. You said give a... Is that in here?
Wings.
Yeah, and antlers too, on top of it.
As John again looks to Richard. That the goat thing doesn't sound familiar, but a ghoul with antlers and wings does.
It was on the bad guy side.
Yeah, it would be. Huh.
I mean, Susanna did
She did.
say she wasn't sticking around with it, but I didn't think she'd be helping them.
No, this was no. This is a pause and wait. That's one of the things Susanna can make, a ghoul with wings.
Made, yeah. Alex
Yeah.
was bonded to it pretty good.
Well, at least she wasn't around. At least I didn't see her. And like, when I say made a ghoul with wings, I mean this thing reached out an appendage, touched a ghoul, and it sprouted wings.
That's That Well, that is new, actually.
Maybe
Bring something
maybe it's
back.
whatever Susanna was a prototype for.
Maybe it's Susanna's prototyped. Rohan, I'm not
I
gonna
mean-
lie. There's a possibility you might be seeing more of those. There's also a possibility there's something else coming up that might be pretty big.
I sure as fuck hope not, because he was about as big as the man in the yellow robes and that dude dressed in rags.
Yeah. As he looks down to the paper on wherever they've at the table they've splayed it on, something else, something maybe a little targeted. I'm hoping maybe it only comes for us, but there might be a
Why
new
would you wish
player
that?
coming up soon.
That's not exactly comforting. I mean,
It's only known. The only name we know it as is the Hanging Judge.
this
Yeah.
is a was a long pause, and look, John, Richard, I'm not. I mean, first of all, understand. No one's blaming you. We're all doing this voluntarily, and we're all doing this because we believe in it. But we got targeted because we're making the cure, and we're making progress. Which, I mean, it's great, and we all love it, but it is also scary as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine.
Look, when you guys get to California, maybe hold back from going directly in there and wait for us to show up because we're going to be heading there, I think, after the funeral. There's some sketchy shit apparently going on there that Tulsa was really into, and
Church of Wonder stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, Ryan Curtis told me about that Jacob character.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we can't tell you guys what to do, but we can let you know that we are headed that way.
Yeah, so if you want to hold out, we'll be there, as soon as we can, I guess.
Well, we'll see. We still gotta figure out what's going on with Wachowski and... Fuck. I can't believe I'm saying this, but whether or not Nash will still be leading the free zone, or whether Nefisha's actually going to, get this coup up and running.
Fucking Fisher. Look, obviously, once again, Henry's in charge right now, it sounds like. We've done what we can with, the Dakota Free Zone. As much as I'd like to keep sticking around to make sure they don't get gassed, we can only do so much while there's other shit going on in the world. I just hope Wachowski can sort it out, but, if not, don't kill a bunch of other people trying to save one set and dying.
Well, this is a long sigh, and if I'm going to be honest with you, Richard, if we lose Wachowski, this is how.
Do you know if he's going to the funeral?
He should be, but A man's got a heart bigger than his head sometimes, and look, if they really don't get their act together, he's not going to give up on trying to convince them up till it's too late.
Yeah. Well,
Do
it's
you
on
want?
our list, and it might be kicked up a notch or two.
Yeah. Would you prefer that we headed that way first? Maybe meet him at the funeral and go back with him.
Fuck, Richard, I gotta be honest, I don't know what to do.
Fair enough.
Well, we made a name for ourselves this far by poking our nose where it don't belong, so.
Oh, speaking of, we're gonna have to be telling people about us one last time because we're gonna be doing that one last time.
Who's it gonna be to this time?
Everyone.
This is a pause, and Richard, you sure that's a good idea?
Nope.
Zombies already know, and that's kind of the one we were trying to hide from, mostly.
Yeah, I figured this way if we let people know at the funeral, basically find out who we need to be careful around, and if we can convince people to accept us, that lets us walk into places to help them a lot easier. And well, if some
Could
people get
also
pissed
make
off
my
at us,
job
it
a lot
makes
harder.
Yeah, but you're good at talking to them, John.
Yeah, you know what? I'm good when I got an ace up my sleeve.
Also, you don't have to be John. That's like the whole thing.
As there's a pause, where he kind of says, I mean, if your goal is to let them know what exactly you are at the funeral, that ship's already sailed.
Well,
Accepting you is,
well.
of course, a different question, and one you might have to work out there, but there's another pause and a very long debate for, you ever get filled in on the concept of the Seven?
I don't think we did. Out of character, I don't think we did. So,
You did,
Yeah.
actually.
did we?
Refresh my brain.
There's a network connection.
Oh yeah. The Wasteland
Society of
Legends.
Wastelanders, yeah.
We know the gist of it. We know it's the kind of the 7 people of the Wasteland that know what's
Living
going
legends.
on and meet. Yeah.
Your info kind of got spread the very first time we met.
Well, that's rude, but fair.
Understandable, but rude.
Well, it was protocol.
Yeah.
Whole point is to keep everyone updated on what zombies are doing, and let's face it, you were a pretty big development.
Yeah, that's fair.
Honestly, I got sick of telling the story every time we had to come out anyways.
Well, that being said, I doubt that some of those people spread it on. I mean, it's highly confidential. Hell, I shouldn't even be talking to you about it.
Well, I appreciate you
They
taking
can't
the
listen
risk.
in on this radio, can they?
Well, I mean, technically, but I gotta be honest, confidentiality is not gonna go very far these days.
Yeah.
I mean,
Honestly, we're reaching a new stage in this, frankly, this war.
yeah, and hell, I don't like to think about it, but we gave JR free reign over our equipment.
Yeah.
I'm sure he knows
Fuck.
the specs inside and out now.
Well, I guess keep in touch if anything new comes up. We'll keep you posted and phone in on the caravan if anything new comes up on our end.
All right. Well, you two take care of yourselves.
Yeah, we get to process a lot of whatever we just figured out now.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Rohan. I appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, stay safe, feel better, and shoot
Tell
JR in
everybody
the
hi
face if
for
you
us.
meet him.
That's a very special high. I'd love you for you to deliver, but everybody
Well.
else gets the standard high.
Yeah. And Believe me, if I get the chance, I will deliver up on that promise, Richard.
Please do. Alright, you take care and have a good night.
You too. Over and out.
Over and out.
Somewhere. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Set the radio down on the desk was all I was gonna say.
Yeah, and somewhere in the caravan, at some point, possibly in the middle of the night, there is just a voice in everybody's head. Demi-lich! What do you mean, Demi-lich?
You're only ahead, Demi.
And there is a psychic rage.
Richard, after setting down the radio, does turn to look at Taylor and Georgie. So, angels might be real.
As
And
well
there's
as
space demons that are pissed off at us.
regular demons, as Georgie taps one of the pages.
Yeah, this.
Does that
Well,
one have guns? Man, this
that
kid.
one has guns. Speaking of, what's up with her knowing this? You seem a little too comfortable with her knowing this kind of stuff, John.
Who knowing what?
Little girl handing you these.
Yeah, that's real weird, not gonna lie. I admit that kind of slipped under my radar. But she and her imaginary friend, quote, quote, are real suspicious. Not in the way, like, I think they're dangerous, but, like, in the way that how? But then again, apparently, there's a psychic field or some shit.
Richard's gonna lean across the desk and start fishing around on the other side to try and find an alcohol bottle.
Are there, considering this is Sammy's house, there are a couple.
Try the bourbon, it's real good.
Shakes his head a little bit as he will place a couple of bottles on the desk and uncork one. All right.
Take one down.
How are you
pass
two
it
taking all this?
As Georgie kind of shakes his head as you pours one, as you pour, and he picks up the glass. And I gotta admit, there's a good part of me that's still in shock with the fact that Margaritaville doesn't exist. So I
Focus on that part. That one's the easier one to accept.
as Taylor kind of looks to you and raises an eyebrow, and you have some history with this man made of candy?
John nods, takes a glass,
Yeah.
goes to drink it, pauses and sets it down. Looks
Yeah,
at the
Richard
proof of the
will
bottle.
take that away from you. Yeah, he, well, mentioning that shared dream that came up. When we died, we had some memories of us on an operating table and getting stitched up by a rainbow orangutan and his candy friend.
He might have been the one to put us back together again.
Might have been
Damn,
the
I
one that
miss alcohol.
made us, I guess, what we are. But, they've checked in occasionally through dreams, I guess. Basically, well, giving us the advice we gave Rohan, make the world better, and that's our best way to fight back against them.
Through this weird psychic field, huh?
Shrugs his shoulders.
I don't know anything about that. As John starts looking around for other bottles with something with less proof in it,
There's a few beers.
he'll sigh and take some of that. At least I got you. You ain't abandoned me yet.
Enjoy your sad juice.
Oh, shut up.
As Taylor takes one of the glass, kind of tips it up to a toast, shrugs, and, well, to diving in the deep end, I guess.
Head first. As he'll clink the glass with his own beer mug, I guess.
And I think with that, unless anyone has anything they really want to get to, we might leave the session there.
I think that is a good episode 00.
I think that's a good episode 0.